What's the big deal? I've only been in there for a few minutes.
Yeah, a few minutes short of a week.
I just wanted to say goodnight, kids.
Hey, Arnold.
You won't believe what happened to me.
What happened?
Don't ask.
Is Lady Luck still slapping you around?
The millions behind different strokes. The true financial story. The secrets of shows that define generations. When TV magic hid fortunes and dramas you never imagined. Did you know each episode of Diff'Rent Strokes cost a fortune for its time? And that child star Gary Coleman earned an incredible $100,000 per episode in the 1980s. That's equivalent to almost $400,000 in today's money for just 22 minutes of filming. But the money flowing in didn't necessarily mean wealth for its young stars. The story behind this beloved series hides numbers that will surprise you. Diff'Rent Strokes premiered on November 3rd, 1978 on NBC and quickly won over American audiences. The story of brothers Arnold and Willis Jackson captured hearts and reached the top 3 most-watched programs in the 1978-1979 season. Produced by Tandem Productions, the series was specially conceived for Gary Coleman, who had already impressed producers with his charisma in commercials and guest appearances. Norman Lear, one of the biggest producers in American television, who bet all his chips on the format and managed to transform the series into a cultural phenomenon. Sponsors lined up to have their brands associated with the show. With its mix of humor and messages about racial tolerance and diversity, the series attracted major corporations looking to associate their images with positive family values. This translated into massive advertising revenue for NBC, which knew it had a true golden goose on its hands. The budget per episode of Diff'Rent Strokes ranged between $250,000 and $400,000, a considerable amount for the time. Multiplied by approximately 24 episodes per season during its 8 seasons, we're talking about a total investment that easily exceeded $60 million. And that's without counting marketing costs, promotion, and international distribution. When the series went into syndication, meaning it began to be sold for reruns on other networks, profits increased exponentially. Gary Coleman received about $1 million annually just from syndication rights. NBC and later ABC, which aired the final season, profited even more from international sales of the program, which was broadcast in dozens of countries. Speaking of salaries, the numbers are surprising. Gary Coleman started earning only $1,800 per week in the first season. But his success was so instantaneous that his salary was quickly renegotiated to $30,000. When the series qualified for syndication, Coleman demanded even more and entered a legal battle that kept him out of the first episodes of the 4th season. NBC president at the time, Brandon Tartikoff, publicly acknowledged, "Gary Coleman is Diff'Rent Strokes. Without him, the show would not be commercially viable." This statement gave Coleman the bargaining power needed to reach the impressive amount of $100,000 per episode at the height of the series. Throughout the entire broadcast period between 1978 and 1986, he accumulated about $18 million, combining his work in TV and films. Todd Bridges, who played Willis, also saw his salary grow significantly, although he never reached Coleman's values. Dana Plato, our beloved Kimberly, earned up to $22,000 per episode, a respectable amount for a young actress at the time. But here comes the great irony behind these astronomical numbers. The money didn't guarantee happiness for the trio of young stars. Coleman, who was a minor during almost the entire series, had his earnings managed by his parents, who created a trust fund for their son. When the fund was finally dissolved in 1986, with Coleman already 18, his parents' share was worth $770,000. While Coleman himself had only $220,000, this led to a bitter legal battle in which Coleman sued his adoptive parents and former managers for $3.8 million for misappropriation of his trust fund. He won the case, but received only $1.28 million in the final settlement. After this episode, Coleman never spoke to his parents again. Dana Plato, who was dismissed from the series in 1984 after becoming pregnant, ended up bankrupt and struggling with chemical dependency. At the time of her tragic death in 1999, at age 34, her net worth was just $1,000. Todd Bridges also faced serious problems with drugs and legal issues after the end of the series. Compared to other sitcoms of the time, Diff'Rent Strokes was among the most expensive to produce, mainly because of Coleman's salary. Shows like The Waltons or I Dream of Jeannie had significantly smaller budgets. Even so, considering the enormous commercial success and profits from merchandising and syndication, the investment was extremely profitable for studios and networks. Diff'Rent Strokes may have ended in 1986, but its legacy lives on. The series that brought us the unforgettable "What You Talking About, Willis?" revolutionized the way television portrayed interracial families and addressed important social issues. Its cultural impact went far beyond the numbers, as impressive as they may be. And you, what's your favorite memory of this series that marked generations? Leave in the comments which episode you liked the most, and if you were surprised by the astronomical values behind the cameras.